Hello, it's Jimmy here at O'Reilly's. I have here a Vauxhall Vivaro. It's just come down from South Wales, so I think he said 3 or 4 hours it took him. It's got an Adblue fault that has been at a garage multiple times trying to fix it, so he's hoping that I can sort it out for him. He don't know what the fault codes are, but all he knows is he spent 3,200 putting a new Adblue tank on, and it didn't fix the problem, so they put new NOx sensors on as well, and that didn't fix the problem either. So basically, after they clear the fault, he said within 30 seconds the fault comes back on. So let's go inside and have a look. So for this I'm going to use the launch Eurotab 3, do intelligent diagnose. The mileage on this is 113,000. It's got a spanner light and engine management with a exclamation mark there on it. Okay, so we're getting some issues trying to connect here, and I think I know what that is. It's because it's trying to go in as a Vauxhall when this is not a Vauxhall. The only thing Vauxhall on it is the badge. So let's go in as a Citroen. That's what it really is. Should work then. Try an automatic. Yep, searched up as a Citroen Jumpy, which is the French version. Citroen Dispatch. High speed scan. We're going to scan the whole vehicle here. So I'm just waiting for that to finish. We're almost done. Having a nice cup of tea. The customers brought me one. It was cold today. It said -3 on my phone, but it says -1 here on that. I think, oh yeah, we're just about done. Fuel level on reserve, so maybe the fuel level's just been low, or else it's got a permanent issue with the fuel level sensor or something in the tank. But you can see there it says intermittent. Permanent fault, multiplex additive pump. So we haven't got anything else, have we? Right, so multiplex additive pump, that's not an Adblue fault. Now he's told me it's got an Adblue fault, and they've done multiple repairs trying to fix it, and they put a new tank on. But this is not the Adblue tank. He said they've changed the tank, then they've taken the tank off and changed the pump from the tank. I'm not even sure if you can do that on these. I can't remember. Most Adblue tanks are sealed, and you can just change the whole tank as one unit. So yeah, it's possible they were getting confused. I'm thinking that this is the additive pump for the fuel additive, but these do have 2 tanks. You've got an Adblue tank, and then you've got an Eli's tank, or a pad fluid tank. So let's go in and have a look at what's going on. So it might be a case of just the Adblue tank needs refilling, or the Adblue tank needs replaced. Sorry, the Eli's tank needs refilling, or the Eli's tank needs to be replaced. Let's go to data stream. I can't remember where the information is for this. Maybe in number 1. Okay, so you can see here on this, it says you've got 25 mil, 2,500 mil, which is like 2.5 litres. No, milliliters. Right, let me see. So 18 grams of soot, which is high for the DPF. Exhaust line 2. There's always a different reading somewhere on these. First additive. Engine speed. 19 bar, that can't be right, surely. Particle filter pressure. That's not right, is it? I'm thinking there may be some sort of connectivity issue with the tool there. It can't be 19,000. 180. Some sort of, must be some sort of conversion error there. So what's really annoying about these type of vans, when they put different brands on them, you see these when you get the Fiat badge or you get the Vauxhall badge on them, they're always a bit of a pain to diagnose, because the diagnostic system just doesn't recognise most of the stuff on the van, and it just doesn't recognise the brand, and it does confuse things. Now the actual Adblue tank here, we've got a steady pressure, average consumption 5.5 bar of pressure, so that's working fine. Nothing wrong with the Adblue tank. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill the Eli's tank, but before I do that, what I'm going to do here for a quick test is I'm going to tell it that it's been filled, work on the emissions control circuit. Okay, not supported. It's the Vauxhall badge again, hindering stuff. Urea solution reservoir. Let's go back. Let's just try and do it as a spare part. We'll do replacement of the additive adding pump. Not supported either. Okay, what I'm going to do is get off of that. I'm going to go back in and try this as a Peugeot. So my advice to you would be, if you are going to buy one of these vans, I had a customer come yesterday as well, and the Vauxhall dealership, now this is a Vauxhall dealership is what the customer is telling me, I'm just relaying you what the customer is saying to me. They put a NOx sensor on his van and it didn't fix the error, so they said, okay, let's try and do an Adblue tank, and they're charging them for this each time. Put an Adblue tank on it, it didn't fix the problem, and then they said to them, okay, we can try and put a catalyst on it and see if that fixes it. So basically they're saying, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this, while you keep paying for it. I don't think Vauxhall know how to diagnose these vehicles, because it's not really one of their own. Maybe they just haven't got used to them yet, and that also causes issues diagnosing them, even for me, if you see, as you can see here. So if you are going to buy one of these vans, buy a Peugeot or a Citroen one. Same as with the Renault Trafics, they do the Vauxhall version. If you're going to buy one, just buy a Renault version, they're so much easier to work on. Okay, now it's going in as a Peugeot Expert K0. Okay, let's try this now as the Peugeot. No, that didn't work either. Okay, I was going to say it looked like that reset there, but it has just popped back up. Okay, so I'm just going to raise the van up here, have a look at the wiring to the tank, and I'll show you the two tanks that I'm talking about. I've seen dozens of these vans come to me where the customer has said, what do you mean there's another tank? And even the other mechanic, you know, customers will call me back, and when I say, look, I think it probably needs the Eli's tank, and then they call me back and say, well, I asked my mechanic and he said he's never heard of it, don't know what it is. So it seems to be very common that people confuse the Eli's tank with the Adblue tank. So here you have the Eli's tank right here. Over here you have your fuel tank, and over here you have the Adblue tank. We can see that that's brand new. Now I have found on this bend a few times where the wires sort of rub against the actual protective plastic here and cut its way through. Okay, so I've got the tank out, and surprise surprise, it is empty. It just comes off of up there where we've taken it. A couple of 10mm bolts holding it on. So what I have got here is I've got another tank that is already pre-filled, it's already full with fluid. We can try and swap this tank onto it, and we can test the plug as well, make sure that the plug's working on the van. Okay, so we've got power at the plug here. Okay, so I'm just trying a different tool here for a minute, because we were having some issues with the launch here on this, which is surprising. I think the Vauxhall badge is doing something, but this is another code that we've got as well, the B18 1896. Try and get that to stay focused. So now we're going to clear the codes. We've got a new tank fitted on. Okay, now we're going to start the engine again, and it does take about 30 seconds, so we're going to wait and see if the fault does come back now. So it doesn't look like it's come back so far, But like we could see before, which was a good indication really, we did have a reading saying that it had 2,500 millilitres of fluid in the tank, so it's a good indication that it wasn't about the tank being low on fluid, that more or less that the tank itself was faulty. Okay, yeah, so happy with that. The light has not come back. Okay, so now looking on this, we have a proper reading of 17 millibars of pressure there, 0.017 bar, which is 17 millibars. So the DPF does need a clean, and we've got around about 162 millibars of pressure at 3000 RPM, so that should only be about 50 millibars of pressure there. All of these modern vehicles are hard to get the rev to stay in one position. Look, you hold it at there. This one's not too bad, but they still creep up every now and then. Well, now I've just come back onto my tab 3. I don't know what was going on with this, but while the fault was there, we had some crazy readings on this. But now we've got a correct reading on the pressure of the DPF there. Now, like I said, we'd like to see that down around 5 millibars of pressure if we can. So it's a little bit too high there. And now that the engine's warmed up a bit, we have 190 millibars of pressure at 3000 RPM. Okay, so I've got this kit here from Launch UK, DPF cleaning fluid, and the gun here that attaches to compressor. So now we're going to get under the van and attach this up. So just here we have the DPF, and we've got two of these metal hoses here, 1 and 2. This is the one we're going to put the DPF fluid in, because this is the start of the DPF all the way back. So we're going to disconnect the rubber hose over here. Okay, so I've disconnected this hose and attached my own one here. So normally on these vans I'd do it with the engine off. I'd fill the DPF, let it soak for a minute and then start it up, but try this one with it running. If that doesn't work, we'll do it with the engine off. Okay, we'll just squeeze that trigger now. We'll let all of that fluid go in. Let it attached up there. It's attached to the compressor at 130 psi. Okay, so we'll just keep an eye on the pressure now. We'll hold the revs up again at around 3000 RPM. Okay, yeah, so it doesn't seem to be as effective by doing it with the engine running, so we might have to do it again with the engine off. Now, we've been holding the accelerator on this for 3 or 4 minutes, and the van's been idling the whole time I was working on it there, filling the DPF fluid in, and we haven't even reached barely 70 degrees. So I think it's going to need a new thermostat. Okay, so literally within a couple hundred yards of it's moving the van along the road, it has reached 90 degrees, so maybe these vans just need to get moving before the temperature rises up. Okay, so I'll put a second clean in now with the vehicle engine off. Now we're just holding the revs up, see if we can get the pressure down a little bit more. So it's come down to 90, I think we were at 120 before this second clean. Hold the revs now for a few minutes, see if that changes. Okay, it's come down to 80, and we have 10 millibars at idle. So might have some ash accumulation or some damage on the DPF. We'll try and put a bit of, I've got some fluid I was going to test out, which is the brick acid. We're going to try and stick some of that in it, see if it helps. So I've bought some of this stuff to try. I think it's just the highest strength I could find, so we'll try this one. Okay, can I get that in there? Leaking a little bit there. Okay, so it doesn't seem to want to go below 90 there, and if we let the accelerator go, 10 millibars of pressure. So it's not as good as I'd like to do it. I mean, it's borderline within the boundaries of being a good DPF. So I think pretty soon it's going to need a new DPF, this van. So as you probably know, my normal expectations is having anything below 10 millibars and a maximum 100 millibars. We have 90 here, so we're very close to the limit. of what I'd call a healthy DPF. So it's not finished right now, but of course it's coming to the end of the life, this DPF. Now the DPF not being cleaned on one of these with that sort of mileage is very, very rare to me, to be honest. I think this is probably the first one I've seen of the Citroen Dispatch, Peugeot Expert and Vivaro of this type that's had the DPF get close to the limit at that mileage. I've done one yesterday with 180 on the clock and the DPF was still fine on that. So that's it. All of the faults to the Eli's tank are now gone. The DPF has been cleaned. The brick acid didn't really do any more than what the fluid done, to be honest, but it's all ready to go now, and we'll see you on our next video.